I fully believe, I don't want to like dictate to other people, but I think everyone could benefit from a therapist.
Let's talk about like relationships, like how you, just because of your time constraint and you're working, like how do you keep business and personal? Do you separate them? Do you bring them together? Like how do you manage them?
You know, it's really hard to fully separate them when you're on your own like this, and building a company. And so I have focused on I also had the wrong attitude when I became an entrepreneur. I was on this hashtag no new friends. I was
Oh
like,
my
if you
goodness.
wasn't with me shoot in the gym, like
That was
2
everyone's
years
hashtag
ago,
for a while.
then I'm not with it, you know? And that was actually a bad way to be, because I was blocking my blessings. I was blocking like really, really amazing people from coming into my life who share the same values as I do. And so I would say that from a relationship perspective and personal perspective, I actually also, by the way, on Wall Street, your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
And I know there's a lot of that in tech too, but like I realized I had a lot of relationships that were loose, and as opposed to kind of focusing in on like quality friendships. And so I stopped putting, energy into things that weren't returning anything. And it's not even like you got to give me something, but are you giving me energy that fills my spirit?
Yeah.
Are you giving me like support, and I'm giving you support? And so like one of my closest friends today is in New York. One is he was a co-founder of Venmo, and he's like but we also do a lot of business together too. But we also like talk every day and like see each other at least like 3-4 times a week when I'm here. If I was on that no new friends, we actually got introduced by our attorney. If I was on that no new friends, I would have been like, nah, screw that. But it's so funny. My therapist, when we started to get close, my therapist said to me, she was like, you're kind of like, more calm these days. What's good? I was like, actually, I think maybe like I'm finding people that really compliment me, or, I have two friends in New York that I hang out with, and then, yeah.
I was gonna say, would you say therapy is
I thought we were
important
friends.
for?
New York.
Three.
Would you say therapy is important for everyone? You know what I mean? Like I know I have a therapist. I've seen a therapist for a long period of time. Do you feel like it's essential to growing when it comes to like business and personal, like everything?
I think some feedback mechanism. So first of all, I fully believe, I don't want to like dictate to other people, but I think everyone could benefit from a therapist. There's a level of growth that you're trying to achieve or things that you're trying to deal with. There's baggage that I have from my childhood that I have to unlearn. And it's my responsibility. It's not my parents' responsibility now. It's my responsibility to unlearn that. And so, I remember when I asked my parents to go to a therapist when I was in high school. They're like, girl,
How'd that go?
They're like, you need to take your black ass to Sunday school. That's what you need. You need your ass beat. And so
I wonder what it is in the black community that is taught, like you don't need
everyone is
anything.
you need
scared of
Jesus.
it. Everyone's scared of it, and it's not talked about enough. The mental health component is not talked about enough until somebody's depressed, suicide happens. Like it's not talked about enough.
And the funny thing about it is that the turning point in my family was, my father tragically dying in a highway accident. So my parents sponsor kids to visit Hampton University every year for open house. And 6 years ago, the bus ran off a straight road, flipped over twice, and ejected both my parents out the front window. And my dad didn't survive that. And my mom fell into like a really big depression. They had been together for 35 years. And all of a sudden, he's gone. And that took a toll on the family. It took a toll on her. And I would say prior to that, my mom wasn't on the whole kind of therapy wave. She was on the Bible wave. And, since then, kind of picking herself back up, and, all of the kids, everyone is just really on the therapy. Like, let's do what we need to do. Like there are times where I can walk by a restaurant in New York City and they're playing like Moon River, which is like the first song my dad taught me how to play on the piano, and I'll just start crying. And that's triggering for me 6 years later. And so there's, I think that was a turning point, but it took the family going through some trauma to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't know that without that trauma, we would have gotten there, at least not by now.
So you I'm a father of two. Do you think, like, when do you bring it, like, hey, like, you seem stressed?
No, I think with therapy, it's not even just about stress. It's realizing that even if the problem hasn't presented itself yet, it's already there. You know what I mean? Like, you went through something as a child. We all went through something that we just probably unseen. Whatever it was. It could have been your parents weren't giving you enough time because they were working.
Right.
And now you're bringing this into relationships and business, personal. It's everywhere. So if you are already seeing a therapist, you get to the bottom of your childhood. When you correct that, then you start correcting everything else around you. But people don't know that. You know, everyone thinks you go to therapy just to get fixed. Like, I went after my son's father got murdered, but I was going before that. Mm-hmm. But it did start. I didn't go until I was dealing with an issue, which I wish I would have known earlier, because I would have been a lot better way before that. You know, so I think a lot of times it does take tragedy or something like traumatizing happen before we say, let's go. But I think it needs to be pushed out there, as this needs to be a part of, like, they should teach it in schools, I think. Like, they should know, people should be getting therapy, because if you were working through your issues as they're happening, oh my God, you'd be a different person.